Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to have a painting tutorial on a floral painting. I'm thinking on doing something similar that I did in the past. I made this rose painting. I don't think I have a video on this, but I do have it available up in my Etsy account, which is Zen Arts of Paint. That's where I sell all of my paintings, and some of them I don't even have painting tutorials on, so I'm pretty new at all of this. So if you're interested for this one particular, it should be still up there. But for this painting tutorial, we're going to try to do something similar to this. And we're just going to be putting it on a 16 by 20 canvas. So I think we're going to do it horizontal. So if you want to get that set up, and I'm going to put this up in front of me so I can kind of give a visual for what I'm trying to go with here. So in this painting, I'm using a lot of reds, orange, I see for the sunset. It's also mixed in with the clouds as well. And then I have my roses. Now my roses, I do remember I was using a right here. I believe this is a 12 round tip brush. If you don't have this, a 6 would work perfectly. So I'll probably use this for the roses. I'm gonna probably use different pigmentations of reds to give it this effect that I did for these roses. And then for the leaves, I used, it looks like I used a bright green with a light green. So I'll probably use these two colors. This darker part being the center of the leaf and the brighter part being the end tip of the leaf, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter. I mean, either way, it would still look very nice, because I noticed, like in my painting right here, I do have some leaves where it's darker on the end, and then I have some leaves that are like darker in the middle. So the way that I have it, it actually looks really nice, and we'll probably do something similar to that as well. White paint, I kind of like to highlight my flowers, so we'll probably do that too. What I did was I used the regular thin tip brush for that. I used a palette knife for my clouds and just basically scraped it with my sunset in the background. So that's why it has a little bit of an orangey pigmentation to that as well. So it's really nice. I really like this. I used painting paper for this. I wish I put it on canvas, but that's why we're going to do it today. And I didn't get the chance to put it in a painting tutorial, so I'm trying to reenact that time. Also, I really would like to have it on a bigger canvas for a little bit. I'll probably also have this up for sale on Etsy if you're interested in this one particularly. Again, it's Zen Arts of Paint, and if the price is a little bit, just message me and maybe I could bring it back, bring it down a little bit just to help you out if you really want this one. Because really I want to get rid of some of them, but I like to do it as a hobby, and that I sell them so I can contribute to it and keep making these videos. So if you're interested, that's where it'll be. And also if you want to tag along, that's what we're going to be doing right now. So alright, so to get started, we're going to work on our sunset. And what I did for the sunset, really you can use any brush for the background. I'm probably going to use a 1.5 38.1 millimeter paintbrush. Really you can use just a regular brush like this. This doesn't have a size, it doesn't even tell me what kind of brush it is, so, but if you have a brush like this would work perfectly. You can even use a makeup brush if you have extra lying around that you don't even use. That would be perfect as well. We're going to use a scraper, well, a palette knife, I should say. I shouldn't be calling it a scraper. It's a palette knife. And we're going to use it for two things. We're going to use it to help blend our background. It's something I've been doing, and it's been working really nicely with, you know, the colors just transitioning from dark to lighter. It works really nice just to scrape some of the excess paint and then blend it. So that's what we're going to do first, and then we'll put in our clouds and have it also kind of blend in a little bit with the sunset, as it does for this painting as well. Now, the colors I was using for the sunset, I'm not really quite sure, but it looks like I have a mixture of like a tomato red. I do remember using a lot of tomato red in the summertime, so I probably use a tomato red, but a very light bit of it. And then it seems like I used like a flesh color, but this doesn't even look really, it says flesh, but it actually looks more like an orangey color, between orange and yellow. So if you have something that's close to this color, this is what we'll be using. This does not look like a flesh color, but that's what it says. So we're going to use that with a mixture of our red, tomato red, and we're going to use this bright yellow as well. So we'll start off with that first, and there really is no beginning or ending of where we're going to stop, because our flowers are going to come in and it's going to be very full. And I know I'm a little off season here, it's just I've been thinking about roses lately, and I think that it's been a while since I've done a floral painting, and I don't think I have too many floral tutorials, so I'm going to try to get back into that part of painting that I haven't been doing for a while, and I really do like doing them. It also teaches me different techniques as well, and then I can share that with you. So we're going to get our paints out. I'm going to use tomato red. Yeah, I did a painting last week. I don't think I have it up yet. It's probably going to be a while before I have it up, because I have painting videos. I used to do one, like, I used to paint maybe every other day in the summertime, but you know, my schedule has flopped, so I've been doing it mostly on the weekends, usually a Saturday. And what happens is I have all this back flow of videos that I have to edit and reload. So some of my paintings, if you follow me on Instagram, might be up for like a month, and then my video comes up a month later, and I apologize for that. It just takes some time to edit. And also I have a backflow of videos. I'm trying to keep them pretty close to the date I put up the picture, if that makes any sense. It's not easy doing all these things by yourself, and also it takes a lot of time, you know. So I work on top of that, and my job isn't bad, it's pretty easy, but physically it can be a little draining, you know. So I try to make a time for this, make a time for that, you know, so I can have some balance here. So I got my colors out. So I got my tomato red, my flesh, and my yellow. Now I'm going to show you the painting once more. You can see the colors kind of look like they could be for the sunset. So hoping that's what I used, and we're just going with that. So I'm just going to start with putting my paint on the canvas. Then we'll start blending it with this brush. So I'm going to use this first to apply the paint to where I want it. And then I'm going to come back in with this. Sorry about that. Another thing I like to do is I like to leave a little gap where the shades are, add a little white paint, and blend that in. Now if you need to add a little water, if your paint is a little bit thicker and it takes a little bit to spread out, you might need to add a little bit of water. It's okay to do that. That's a problem I've been kind of running into lately, is my paint has been, so I have different brands. There's one brand I like in particular. I'll show you what that is in a minute. This brand I actually like too, the one that I'm using for this tomato red. This is a craft paint. So, I mean, this one's not too bad. There's another brand I really like. I mean, if you're a beginner painter, you're going to learn to see which paints you like and which paints you don't really like. You'll feel all the different qualities and the fluidity. I don't want it too much red up top because we're going to blend this. It's a sunset. Sometimes the sky does look a little reddish, but we're going to lighten it up with that blush. I mean, it's up to you if you want to get the sides to get more of a 3D effect. I think I'm going to keep mine just open and just paint the canvas itself. Alright, so now I'm going to wash out my brush. Dry it. And then we're going to come back with our flush. The flush is going to go in this area. We're going to add a little white in the center. Same thing with the yellow when we put it in. And I might add some other details to this. We might add some birds flying. I just want to make something warm. It's been so cold outside, so I want to think of something warm. So I figured we'll do a kind of a spring-like summer type painting, even though it's winter. It's okay to do that, you know? Warm yourself up. Your heart. Okay, so I'm rinsing out my brush again. It looks a little funny right now, I know. It's usually how it starts out. I always thought to myself, how did you make a painting like that starting out with these 3 shades? You'll see. Some of that yellow paint. And now we're going to start putting that white paint in the middle, and then we're going to scrape some of it off and then blend it in. Just trying to move a little bit quick with this part. Paint is like, there we go. So you don't want to dry too quickly. Put a little bit of the yellow. Alright, now let's go back in with that white. And when it comes to blending, you kind of gotta work fast so it doesn't dry up so quickly, you know? That's the only part to this. Alright guys. nice. So we got that in. Let's try to do a quick blending. And then we'll do some scraping. Might need to go up and down a few times. See, I think the color I have up top is a bit dark, so we might need to lighten it up a little bit. But you see, I'm kind of bringing the dark down a little bit. Even the yellow was looking too bright, so I'm kind of mixing them. You see, now it's starting to come together a little bit. I'm going to bring a little bit of that flush up top, just to lighten it up a bit. Just put a little bit up top. Might need to add a little bit of water. That's a little bit better. It was a little bit overpowering before. Because, yes, we want our sunset to look beautiful, and we want to have these different shades of red, but we really want our roses to pop. So in order to do that, we gotta like tone it down a little bit in the background. It's not really looking too much like my sunset that I had on paper, but that's okay. We'll work with what we got here. Really, I think it's coming out pretty nice. So we're gonna take our scraper. This is the fun part. Taking off that excess paint in any way we can. There really isn't much, actually. Another makeup brush that I have. I'm just going to try to blend it with what I have right here. And it's not very nice. Okay, so that's our sunset. We're gonna add some of those clouds in there. So to do that, I need to wash my palette knife. So I'm gonna start off, turn this down a little bit. So I basically have a lot of white paint just really in various places. Plop some of this paint here. So you don't really see clouds. They're kind of like a little choppy. You know, some of them are full, some of them are sometimes if you do a pattern method, helps a little bit. So basically I have my clouds in its forms. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot, but that's how it was on the painting too. And what I'm doing for this part is I'm just like giving it some texture by just patting it in some spots. So it might be a little clumpy in some areas. That's okay. We're trying to make it look buoyant, like cloud-like. So that's what I'm doing for like the texture. Just patting it. So let me just show you what it's looking like closer. Just a little bit, you know, texturizing the clouds a little bit. Might actually just take a little bit of these. Let me see what this does. Okay, this might make it look really nice. So just if you have one of these, or if not, you can just use a regular brush, dry preferably, and just try to dab it around cloud-like. The whole sky is basically kind of filled in at this point. See in some parts, you'll see some of it popping out with that white paint, which is basically what kind of clouds do. So add a little bit of that yellow to the bottom. Another one of these and just use some white paint to lighten it up a little bit. So our clouds are not going to be like the ones that we saw in that painting, but they're going to be a little bit more blended as like this. What can I else add to these clouds? I was thinking maybe I could add some like highlights to where each cloud would be. So basically I'm just making like little squiggly lines and maybe painting out where my clouds would be just to give it more texture. I mean, you can just leave yours the way it is. just kind of like working my way down for my clouds. No, this is like a different technique that I wouldn't normally do. So, I mean, this just really wouldn't be normally what I would do. Because it's kind of looking kind of cartoony-ish, but, you know, it doesn't really look that bad. It looks pretty cool. Because it's some texture. It shows you where the cloud formation would be, and I don't know, it kind of looks nice to me. So that's what we got there. The white paint. Just dab where that white paint is. I'll show you how it looks so far. See why I dabbed this so it doesn't look like too much that it stands out, but enough to show you those cloud formations. I know you can't really see too well what I'm trying to do here, but you get the it's but I might also just do one last thing before we move on. Where I made those like swirly things, come back with white paint and just a dry brush and just go in those spots, but not like fully painting it, you know, just dabbing. So sometimes you gotta do like weird things to get your sky to look like a sky or clouds. It sometimes takes weird things with what I'm doing right now, where it's like even know what you were trying to do at the beginning. Like you were trying to make the sunset and then add in clouds and then added too much paint. Well, that's what I'm trying to show you, is that there's always a way that there's never really a mistake, you know, you can always fix something. So that's what I'm kind of showing you here, is that if something doesn't look right, you can always go back and try to fix it, or you can always try a different technique over it to see if you can get what you're trying to go for. And then sometimes it's good just to step away from it, you know, if it's just not coming the way you want it to, which was what we're probably going to do after this method. If it doesn't, you know, come through the way we want it, just get away from it for a little bit, and start working on the next thing, which is our flowers. This is sort of helping a little bit. Sort of. Getting those clouds to pop out a little bit. You might need to just go around and just blend with a brush, smooth it out a little bit. I mean, this way I kind of like, because you draw your clouds and you go back in with the white paint, and you should still have a little bit of paint left from your sunset that you're working on to kind of blend it in a little bit. So in some ways it kind of helps doing this method. That form, and then you just try to blend it over those lines that we drew out with our paint. Okay, those are our clouds. Now they look really like clouds. You know, that kind of helped out a little bit. It was a little weird of a technique, but it kind of got our clouds to look like a sunset cloud. But then again, you don't want to get too caught up in the background, because the main focus is our roses. So if you couldn't get it nearly or kind of close to this, don't worry. We're gonna work on the roses, so that's the part I really want to focus on. Now, I haven't done roses in a while, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to practice on a sheet of paper, and I recommend you guys do the same. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a bunch of roses. They're going to overlap each other, So we're probably gonna need a lot of red paint to be that way. So I'm just showing you some quick techniques that you can do to fix as well as you're painting along with me. Because this happens to me when I'm painting. I just sometimes don't know what I'm going to paint as. I usually do freestyle. But this is something I'm trying to go off of, something I've already done. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh shoot, that's what I forgot to do. So we're fixing that really quick. Luckily we didn't go too far along with that. So I can just easily fix that. Because usually roses are growing in a bush and you want to have somewhat of a background to that. We'll have our leaves popping out, of course, when we're done with that. And, you know, you just dab it in it. There will be different shades of the green and the brown, the red. That's okay. We kind of want all those different shades. They're not going to be really seen much because we're going to have a lot of roses in here. So you can see the red, but that's okay. Our roses are going to be covering a lot of these areas, so there's no real right or wrong reasons for this. A good thing we caught it before we started putting all our roses in. So I'm just like adding a little bit of that green, lighter green on top, and I'm just like the lighter leaves over here. And we have a little bit of darker shading over here. There we have it. So now you see we have our bush. came out pretty good for a little bit of a mistake. So we got that going for us. Sorry guys, just bear with me. I'm like freestyling this so my creative juices flow and things start to come together. Alright, so normally we want this to dry before we start onto our next one. So if you want to take a little break before we move on to our next paint, or we can just practice on making the roses while we're waiting. So whatever you decide to do, I'm actually going to practice on my roses, and I say you do the same. Maybe even watch a quick video on painting roses. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there that will help you figure out the right swaying. Let's see. Let's see if I can try to demonstrate it the best I can. I have so many like painting paper I don't use. This is the back of it. Alright, let's see. I mean, there's so many different ways you can make a rose. It doesn't even have to be perfect. Here's a smaller round tip brush. This is a number 6 round tip. Oh, it's dirty. I don't know why it was dirty. Alright, let's see. It's been a while since I've done this. Let's see if we can add different shades of red. That might help a little bit. So I have a vermilion, and then we'd probably try that rose red. So let's see. No, I didn't fully mix it. I didn't fully blend it, just kind of like tapped it. Alright, I mean, those are my roses. They're not really like perfect. Really, we're just looking to get those petals, and then from there we can add some details, the white paint. So like, see, I painted out where my rose would be, so let me rinse out my brush and take some white paint, start from the center and try to make some of those pillows. kind of can see where I'm going at with this. It's a little sloppy, but it will still look very nice. Alright, let's just get those colors on there. Now I see my roses. Now they're looking nice. So if it's okay, it gets a little blended with the green. It actually kind of gives it the darker look we're going for. You don't want it too bright. If it gets a little clumpy, just rinse out the brush. It took me a minute to figure out how to do this, but just make the 3 big petals and then work your way in. I see a big difference now with just doing that. So just do the 3 big petals. It's up to you if you want to mix the 2 reds, which was the vermilion and the rose bright red. Mix those 2 together and you get a kind of, don't like fully mix it, just give it enough so that it kind of has a highlight to it, and you can see a difference. And then just slowly bring those petals in. And if it gets too much, rinse out your brush. Okay, nice. Try not to focus too much on one flower, just start moving your way. Because I just caught myself doing that, so let that be and we'll go back to fix it if we need to. I'm just going back to add a little, the vermilion red to give it some highlight in some spots. Some spots where I might went a little heavy, I'm just smoothing it out a little. take two. I split this into 2 days, so I'm just finishing up on those roses. Just let myself set up again. If you need to take a moment to clean out your water, it's getting too cloudy, it's probably time to clean it out. You need to take a little break, take a break. I'm just gonna put out my paint and get myself set up. And I'm asking you guys to do the same for yourself. If you need a break or you need to split this into 2 days rather than one, by all means, do it, you know? Okay. Alright. I'm just grabbing different sizes of my round tip brushes in case I want to add different shadings to each petal. So what I'm grabbing right now, I'm grabbing this one is I would say this one's a number 5 round tip brush. I have a number 4 round tip, and then I have a number 3. I don't think I have anything smaller than that, other than the thin tip brush, which we'll probably use for the outlining of it with the white paint. So I'm still gonna be using my number 6 for the highlighting. But first I'm just getting the solid permanent red. No, bright red, I'm sorry. We're going to use the bright red. You can use permanent. I mean, they're very, very close. They're pretty close. You know, this one's a little bit more brighter. But I'm still sticking to the same colors as before. Just filling in this little last area, and then we'll start adding the different shades of the petals. And I'm sorry I couldn't do it all in one shot this time around. I'm going to use number 12. Just wetting my brush. Sometimes you just need a moment to step away, and you should do it if you can. Coming back with a clear mind is always good. Adding like different petals like we were doing before. Kind of got stuck. So this room was a little cold that night, so the paint probably could have froze up. Yeah, it's good. Alright guys, just coming back in to finish my last bit of roses, and then we'll start highlighting them. I had to put this into 2 shots. Needed to step away for a little bit. I encourage you guys to do the same. Just, I mean, if you have the time, go ahead. Sometimes you get better results if you just take that step back. I'm just going to add another rose right here, and then we're going to start working on our leaves. I might even put like a little branch, maybe 2 branches just popping out. with some thorns and possibly leaves, and then adding a little bit of roses getting ready to bloom. I'm thinking about adding a bird in there too. Like I said, I'm doing this freestyle and I'm just going off of a previous painting but adding more detail to it because I don't have a video for that one. I'm just adding more life to this. So far I feel like it's coming out a little bit better than I have for this one. This one's beautiful. I mean, I absolutely love this one. That's why I wanted to remake it. And I was just thinking about roses randomly one day, and I said, you know what? I would love to make another one like this on the canvas and maybe make it more lively. So that's what we're trying to go for. I'm gonna keep this up so I can look at it now. It's funny when you try to remake something, it doesn't come out. I mean, for some people, it can come out exactly the way it is seen, but some people have a hard time getting it exactly the way you had it the first time around, so. That's okay. So now I'm gonna start adding my other shades of red in my little paint holder. So I already have my permanent, I already have my rose bright red, so I'm gonna move that aside so I don't mix that. So I'm gonna put my permanent red in. I don't know if I'm gonna use all these shades. And then I'm gonna put my for scarlet and then vermilion. So really it's just 3 more shades. Probably would add a little bit of white to one of them to lighten it up a little bit. Probably vermilion, I'm thinking. So I'll show you the color scheme. So this is rose, permanent red. This one is scarlet, and this one's vermilion. So we're gonna start off with that permanent red to start off with first, and we're going to use let's see. All right, we're going to use the I'd say this is number 6. I can't really see. It looks like a number 6 round tip brush. We'll start off with that, and it gets smaller as we get closer. So we're gonna go with that permanent red, and just adding those highlights, petals, going one way and then another, and just really making the shapes of the petals and just letting it be. We're not filling it in crazy. We're just adding different shades of the petal. And one was coming one way and another. Just so it stands out and pop. And really, I'm loving just this. I'm just loving these 2 colors together. And if you love it just the way it is, you can keep it with these colors. Because I can see it almost looks realistic doing it this way. The colors really go together. I mean, when they dry, you'll really see, and you can be the judge for yourself what you think. I really like these 2 together. Try not to over obsess, just put those little dashes and move on to the next one. I get that problem too, where I over obsess and I'm trying to make it perfect, and really it's just good to leave it and move on. Go back to it later if you need to. And remind yourself that these are flowers. Each flower is different from the other. Each petal is different in the way it's displayed. So there's no real right or wrong reason to be doing this. We're just, I don't know if you can tell how I'm putting the petals. I'm just going whoosh and whoosh and going another way. That's all I'm doing. I probably should have described better what I was doing for when I was putting the roses on. Just a solid color. But really I was just doing the same thing, but filling it more soluble. And just making sure there's like 3 large petals, one going this way, one going that way, this way, and the rest just falling in its own place. I'm new at this, so just bear with me. I'm sorry if didn't get in more detail of what I was really doing. I'm sorry. It's something I'm working on. Something I want to share with people, and also you can share with me your ideas too. We're all beginners here. I'm a beginner myself. I just started painting. Well, I don't know if I told or said anything about it in my previous videos, but I started painting over the summer of last year, and really it's blossomed like a rose. I've learned so much by myself, and also through the help of YouTube. I've learned so much from other YouTubers, and I haven't been watching too many videos now. I've just kind of been doing my own painting, learning from my own techniques, or just remembering the old techniques I learned from previous painters that I followed on YouTube. So, I mean, if you're a new painter, I encourage you to do the same. Find someone who you like and want to learn and grow with. So I'm just grabbing my green paint and getting it just prepared while I let that set and dry for my leaves. So again, I'm using a light green and a bright green for my petals. I'm just getting it set up because we still have our other 2 shades of rose. Alright, so now we're going to move on a little bit more smaller of a petal. So let's see, what kind of sizes do I have left here? We went through the, oh, this is a 6. Which one is it? Okay, yeah, these are about the same size. Okay, yeah, that brush that we used before was a 6. I just couldn't see, but I had one that's the same size of it, and I'm able to see what the size is, so that's how I was able to tell it was a 6. So that was a 6. I kind of figured that was a 6. Let's see, this is a 4, this is a 3. Okay, I have a 4 and a 3 left, but one of them looks a little bit thicker than the other, so I'm going to assume that maybe that's actually closer to a 5. Alright, so if you have a 5, grab a 5. If you don't, if you have a 4, that's fine, we'll do a 4. Just wet your brush, and we'll move on to our next color, which is scarlet. Yes, this is scarlet. Same thing with scarlet. We're going to just apply a little bit of those petals, but in just different directions as well. Not trying to blend it with the other paint, just having it pop out. So I mean, I'm looking in the camera and it's starting to pop a little bit. Of course, when it dries, it's going to darken a little bit. So that's when we come in with our mixture of white paint, and I think we're going to do that with vermilion. And then we'll go over it with white paint. And that's like our very last thing with the roses. I just want to get our roses settled before we add anything else, any extra detail. It's snowing outside now, guys. It's funny, I picked a more spring-like painting, summer-like painting, and a snowy day. I just haven't done any floral paintings, and the one that I did recently was a poinsettia. I don't really know too much about flowers. I'm sorry, I'm not a gardener. I love the way they look. I don't know the names of them, you know. I'm going to have to learn as a painter, I guess. But I don't know if there's too many winter flowers. Now, if you're following me and you like what I'm doing and you want to see me do more floral paintings, just please hit like, comment, subscribe. But also, comment down below and maybe put in what kind of flowers you would like to see us paint together. And I'll do research and I'll do what I can to do a painting on that particular flower. Because I don't know too many winter flowers, so if you know any good winter flowers, we can try to do that. We can try to do some winter flowers. I would love to do that. So, sometimes I just need a little help figure out what I'm going to paint sometimes. I have ADHD when it's like very mild, you know, but it can get a little overwhelming when you're trying to like do a project like painting. You just don't know where to start. Your mind is constantly changing what you want to do, how you want to do it. So I mean, it takes a lot of focus. For me, it helps me discipline my mind a little bit to help focus on one task at a time. So if you're like me and you have the same problem, this is actually a really good tool to help you with that, But also, I really don't like to put labels on things. People just like to label people and tell them this is what they have and make them feel different. We're all the same. We all have struggled with these problems. There's no beating around the bush. We all have problems with paying attention with certain tasks, you know. So there's no beating around the bush with that, you know. So yeah, I apologize that I put this into 2 cuts. Yesterday I started late with painting, and I was having a weird day, you know. I was feeling a little emotional out of nowhere, you know. It happens sometimes, but in the winter it's more so, you know, for me. I try to get myself out of it and distract my mind with painting and meditating, doing yoga, you know, those healthy things that you should try to do for yourself as well to help get your mind off if you ever get like that. They call it sad seasonal depression, you know. There's so many things we can do to distract our mind from our own thoughts. And you're not alone. You can always talk to me. I'm actually thinking about making a channel for that Pacific, just talking about our feelings and how we deal with them, you know. But I'm doing so much. I'm making so many channels, so I have to just like find one and stick with it. I really like what I'm doing here, you know. But if you also like what I said and you're interested in that, I can just put a comment down below and I'll try to make a channel just for that, you know. I have a wellness channel, so I probably would put it in that. I do meditation, yoga, and just trying to be mindful. Just doing mindfulness, you know. So that's what my channel is about. It's just being a better person in our mind, but also in our bodies, but not being so focused in the body, but being more focused in the mind, you know. So if you're interested in that, that channel is just to better wellness with Melissa Siegel. That's who I am. I didn't give a proper introduction. I'm sorry about that too. My channel, I named it as an art to paint, just a random thought I had one day. I just named it that. And it's also the name of my Etsy shop. And okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix my vermilion with my white to make it a bit lighter. But just a little bit of it because we're going to go back in with our white paint to kind of give an outline. So we don't want it too light. So yeah, I was just saying I have an Etsy account and I just sell my paintings that I make on here with you guys. If they're available, they should be up. I have to renew them every once in a while. So if you see one you like and you don't see it up, just message me if you're looking to buy one. And if the price is too much, I can always drop it down a little bit as well. Yes, no problem. I really just want to get rid of most of them, you know. I do it as a hobby. So I mixed the white and the vermilion together, so I have like more of like it almost looks orange, and almost like a salmon color actually. So just going in lightly, going into those petals, just very lightly. So you come back in with that white. So you see what I did for that top part? Very lightly. I'll bring it a little bit closer so you can see. I have another camera that I'm gonna have to get set up for my next video. It's an old phone that I have. I used it for my last video. I can't remember which one it was, but I had it where it's focusing on me talking and then focusing on my painting. Different angles. So just doing the same motion. I really love how this is coming out, guys. This is like, I'm so excited. At first it was a little iffy, you know, but it's actually coming out way better than my previous painting that we're trying to recreate. So, and just the way they look, I might even just hold off on that white paint. I'm not quite sure yet. You know what? I think I know why I chose roses. Valentine's Day is coming up, and I'm like, why am I thinking about roses? This is probably why. So this is perfect, guys. Valentine's Day. Painting. Yeah, I was like, what can I do for the month of February? And then I was just thinking about roses. Total random thought. And I wasn't even thinking about Valentine's Day. But now I'm like starting to put the puzzles together. That's probably like in the back of my mind what I was really thinking, and it just didn't come out until now as I'm painting. Let me know if that ever happens to you guys. I feel like a weirdo here. Like subconsciously I'm thinking about it, but not really, like it hasn't popped out yet until like the middle of something I'm doing. Yes, let me know if that ever happens to you guys, because I feel like a weirdo right now. And painting is like therapy itself, so most of you who are painting and you're painting along with me, you're doing this as a therapeutic type purpose. So like, that's why I encourage you, go look at my other channel. I have plenty of meditation videos. If you're a Christian, I have Bible meditation videos. Even if you're not a Christian, just meditate with me. I mean, it doesn't have to be what I'm saying. You don't have to take it in or whatever. Just being present is really what I'm doing in those videos to share with everybody. But I also just do it with my faith as well. But you're always welcome to tag along. I'm gonna try to do one just for meditations. I mean, mantras, you know. So if you're interested in that, just go visit my other channel. I try to incorporate all the things that I like to do, and I like to share it with people. Those who might be feeling like I have been feeling and may not have the resources that I have the resources, so I like to share them and let you know that you are not alone. And what a perfect topic for Valentine's Day. You're not alone. You're a single person. You don't need to be alone. There's so many things that we can do together. Even if we're quarantined, even if we're like far away and we're not physically in front of each other, so much that we can do with each other. Like painting, like virtual meetings or meditating. There's so much things we can do virtually that it's amazing, and that you should know there's no reason to be alone, especially in the times where we're very blessed to have what we have, because they didn't have these things back then. Can you imagine going through a pandemic and when they didn't have any technology the way that we have today? We would be like, we would be bored out of our minds. We'd be losing it. And I would think that a lot of people would probably start following the rules and doing what they're supposed to, so we can get out of this situation a lot quicker, right? So there's a win and a lose. You know, the lose is that people are distracted and they don't care. And they have all these resources when some people don't, you know. And the people who don't are doing the things that they have to, so we can get out of this situation quicker, you know. But my point is there's so much we can do together right now. Even if we're miles away from each other, or this is years from now and you're painting along with me and times have gotten better and there's no lockdown anymore and the world is just much better. And you're just following along. So it's snowing outside, so I just went out with my son really quick just to play with him in the snow. So I'm just gonna take some of that white paint. And mix sure white paint in the water vermilion. So a mixture of white paint in the water and vermilion is what we're going to use. is a little bit thicker than that one. This is like a 3, 3-0. You can see. Just going to start working on the leaves after this. Not too much of that. Just a little bit. Once we put in those petals, it will really settle. It's pretty close to what I had originally, but the colors are a little bit more different. I'm finding that painting paper is a little bit better with certain things than it is on canvases. Very easier to blend, I think. So I'm going to work on my leaves. I'm going to start on my bigger leaves like in the background, and work on my smaller ones in different places. Now to do this, I'm just going to wet my brush a little bit, and I'm going to put a little bit of, I have my 2 greens, light green and bright green. So the light green on one side of the flat tip brush. This is a 3/4 flat tip artist loft brush. Just put a little bit on each side, and I'm just going to go back and forth with my brush. So I get like a petal-like color. One's darker and one's lighter on the sides. My leaves are a little bit brighter, so I'm not really sure what kind of green I used at that time, but it's pretty close. Now before we get started, I'm going to practice my leaf on paper. And basically, I'm going to have the darker one. Doesn't matter if it's in the center or in the tip of the leaf. So I'm just going to put my darker green in the center, and my lighter one on the top. And I'm just going to make a little like that. And then that's part of a leaf right there. Now if you want to make it wider leaf, like a fuller leaf, take the darker spot which was in the middle and just do the same thing. It's on the edge. As you get closer, I'm just gonna go back in now. Get closer, just swipe it like that. Get your leaf. Fuller leaf. So we're gonna make a couple of those fuller leaves, just sticking out in some places, and then we'll do half leaves, smaller leaves, just like that. I'm going to try to keep the dark spot in the middle, but sometimes it gets at the end, but that's fine because usually leaves are not really all the same. So, and it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. We're doing this for fun, and I got a little crazy before with the roses. I wasn't sure like if I even liked them, but you gotta let it sit and dry, and then from there you'll see the broad scale of things, like it doesn't look as bad as I thought it did, and it's pretty close to what I was doing before, and I just became a perfectionist. I wanted to make it look exactly like a rose, but I'm not that good. This is beginner, so this is focused on beginner. We're not trying to achieve anything to make it perfect. We're just trying to have fun here. So I'm just going to start with my leaves. You might need to go back and forth a couple times till you're satisfied with the solid color. I'm just going to do the same thing with the other side of the leaf. But alright, let's try again. So we have the dark color on this side. I think I might want something a little bit lighter in the outer part of the leaf. So let me see what other greens I have here. I do have light green. This is a bright green, but I have bright green here, so it's not that. way it kind of pops a little bit better. So if you have a forest green, we're going to use that as the center part of the flower, of the leaf, and then the bright green for the ends. Yeah, because it just looks too close to the color, and we wanted to make it look a little bit lighter. I don't think I have that green that I used over the summer, so I'm going to have to look around to see if I can find that same green for the future when we try to do flowers again. Yeah, this helped. This looks a lot better. Plus the paint is better. Not a big fan of this paint. I end up using it a lot. Alright, so let's try it. Oh yeah, much better. The other side. Yeah, it's much better this way. Definitely. So if you have the forest evergreen color with a bright green, it looks much better. And now we're going to work on the other side. I've done flowers or really any kind of leaf pattern, so I'm just trying to work it out a little bit. See? So it's pretty nicely. Actually, it looks pretty real. You need to take some of that paint off. Sometimes the brush gets too full, so just wash it out if it gets too full of that paint. Dry it really well, and then come back with that color. And sometimes you just need to go back and forth. It has been a long time since I've done this, so a little out of practice. This one worked better. This one is a number 14 flat tip brush. At least I feel comfortable with this one. If you feel comfortable with the other one, you can still continue to use that. It's not too much of a size difference. Yeah, it's not too much of a size difference. It's just the hand, I don't know. Just try to find a brush that you feel comfortable for this method. If you have to stop the video and practice, brush that you feel comfortable with. That's what you can do. You might need to go over a couple times to get those squiggly lines in the groove and the leaf. There we go. It looks much better. And I'm not gonna put like a whole lot of leaves in here. I just want a little like different spots. Like I see in my painting I have a lot of leaves just popping out of like random spots, but I think I'm gonna like tone it down a little bit, just put them in small areas and just let the roses be the way they are and not overlay them with all these leaves. Alright, so I got those two on there. Forgive me, I have to move it every, like, in different angles just to make it work. If you have to do the same, you should do the same. Come back ever so often to fill your brush, and that's the only down part of doing this leaf technique. Come back in on this side. Come back over on this side. So I'll put it upside down for a moment. keep bringing in the big leaves, and then as we get closer to the bottom, we'll start adding smaller leaves with a smaller brush. Pretty nice. So as you can see, it's very similar. Sides and then bringing some smaller ones in. Maybe we can make like 2 lovebirds on a branch, because this is kind of like a Valentine's Day theme. That'd be really nice. Maybe like a silhouette birds. Start working on any other details you want to add to it. I'm gonna go back in and just darken it up a little bit. a second coat. Anywhere you want to, just go do a second coat on, or it kind of helps a little bit. Start working on my smaller leaves, let that sit, and then we'll do a branch, and then go from there. So for the smaller leaves, I'm going to use, this is a number 12, I'm not sure if I'm going to like it, so I'm going to test it out. I'm just going to put a little bit of that bright green. Practice in here. This is smaller leaves. It's not too bad. Here's a smaller leaf like that. That's not too bad. I'll give that actually. It's not too bad, but this smaller brush actually works a lot better than the other one. To get the ridges into the leaf. Maybe like there's like a piece of the leaf in that spot. Same thing right over in this area. So for these leaves, I'm just making them half, like I was showing you before, making a half leaf. Maybe it's folded over, you know. It is really looking very nice. At first I wasn't too sure about it, but now everything is starting to fall in place. That's why, you know, if you make a mistake, and it keeps happening, just let it start settle in, and then add the other details, and it starts to fall into place. So that's our leaves. And now we're going to be working on our little branches. For that, for our branches, I'm going to use a mixture of burnt umber and warm gray. I got burnt umber and warm gray. Going to mix them, but not like completely, just have it be streaky. And I'm going to use that same brush I was using for the smaller leaves, number 12. I'm just gonna practice here how I want my branches to be. It's kinda like that. Might need to add a little bit of the darker burnt umber. Kinda like that. Just to remove some of the paint off, it's too heavy. The edges are a little bit like squiggly, so add some leaves, and then we'll go back into our highlighting part of our leaves, and then we'll work on any last details we want to add, like birds or same thing before, using that bright green. take a moment and I'm going to actually make a rosebud. Using a number 12 round tip brush with a little bit of that rose red that we were using earlier. To do that, we're just going to do detail on here because I'm going to add those birds in. I'm probably going to place them like in the center right here, I'm thinking. And these leaves that I'm using right over here are just evergreen in this area. There's usually thorns on rose bushes too, so we're probably going to add like some thorns on it as well. I'm going to go back in and put some rose petals here as well. Little roses. going to, in this area, grass blade. Come up through that area. Furthermore, we're going to come back in and just do the outlining to our leaves at the bottom with a thin tip brush. And white paint. It's the same as what I did in this painting. So you get an idea. So I just got an idea for our birds. I'm thinking we could do doves. Which I might just do a quick look of what they normally look like. It's pretty basic. Oh, I'm sorry. I might see what they look like just to, you know, get an idea really quick. But I'm pretty sure they're just white and pretty basic. So I was thinking doing a silhouette, and then, you know, I need to try to branch out from that and try to challenge myself, do more things that I don't normally do in my paintings. That's what I kind of encourage you guys to do as well. We don't know if we're capable of doing these things if we don't give it a try, you know? Sometimes I need to take my own advice on certain things. It's looking really nice. For those little blades of grass coming on the ground, just make a little line. Just one little one. gonna do the branches as well. Let me go into this little know how you guys are doing down below. How do you like this one? I was a little nervous at first, so I apologize for that. And I thank you so much for hanging in there to see the real outcome to this painting. Having the patience for the painting and just listening to me. So I'm just going into wood as well, just making little streaks. I missed a spot right over here. Best part, we are going to work on our doves. Before we do that, I'll just take a moment and okay, I painted out a form of a dove I would like to have. This is the male dove. He's kissing her on her head, and they're just sitting on this branch together. You can follow along with me. I'm probably going to use a mixture of white and gray paint so you can see the shadowing, and then the middle part would be more lighter. So Just bear with me on this one. It's the first time I'm doing anything like this. It was a thought that came to my head, and also I just did a quick researching on what they would look like. Love doves. And I really like the placement of this one particularly. So I'm gonna try to wings. Those wings. This would be the top of her head. I guess we'll do the rest by filling it in with a, let's see what kind of brushes I have here. Just rinse this out really good. Okay, I have a number 12 round tip brush. I'm just gonna try to fill in this body as best I can. It's okay if some of that gray comes in. We really just want to get the body in first, and then we can start adding in any other details. The wings. it, and I'm gonna start coming in with white and a thin tip brush. I'm just gonna pour a little out on the side because I'm running out of space. I have no paint. Well, no room to put my paint, so. Thin tip brush. Some details to those wings with white paint. Now I might just do a little bit of shading with the black and white so we know that they're not just one burned edges too. Here's the head. So I'm using white and black paint mixed together to pour a gray. This is the arm too. the other bird. And the same for his head right here. Actually going to start working on their eyes, the black. I'm gonna use the thin tip, the number 0 thin tip brush. If I can find it. There it is. For the eyes. Eyes. Work on the beak. They have a mixture of like a yellowish beak and an orangey. I'm gonna use yellow. Bright yellow I have here. So this guy is kind of like kissing her with his beak. And a little bit of vermilion into it actually. So vermilion and a little bit of that bright yellow. rose in her mouth. It's like a little stick. I just want to put another branch like in this area so it doesn't look like they're floating in the sky. So with that, I'm just going to add a little branch coming out this way. Maybe another one of the sun too. Mouth as well. done here. Baby's breath. Baby's breath doesn't usually grow in the roses, but I feel like it would be nice to kind of add on to it in some spots. Q-tip for this. Most of our roses should be dry by now. I just need a couple of Q-tips. Maybe like 4. Grab a ponytail around them. And if you don't have this, you can just use a regular thin tip brush and just make a bunch of little dots. Roses and the main part of the painting. Just want to make a little bit more in the corners, and then we'll be done. we have it for our painting. Came out beautiful. It. Our two love doves painting. You guys did an awesome job. Thank you so much for hanging out and doing this painting with me and bearing with me. Sorry for my misinformation at times. I'm a beginner painter and I'm learning, and you guys are learning with me, and I'm so thankful to have this time with you. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want more videos like this, and if there's any requests, please just comment down below and I'd be glad to answer. Thanks for watching. Peace.